This is the second video of today. As I stated at the end of the last one, I have two videos today. It's going to be a double invocation and a story on the sensitive degree placements today, spun around through an interesting perspective. This is invoking death energy and returning sickness energy. So we're going to start with the invocation of Death's guardians in universal law. I call upon the great architects of the end, the keepers of the final passage and the unseen realms. The path I walk is at a crossroads of immediate choice. I seek protection and just return of all negative energies. I recognize the principles of Newton's third law of motion, that for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. May this intention block all unwarranted spells and malicious actions sent my way. May all negative intentions be returned to sender, amplified, and with perfect justice. My protection circle is absolute. So mote it be, I declare it to be, and so it is. And this is the invocation of Death's guardians, cosmic forces, and universal law. It's got a theme, if you can pick up on that. I stand at the crossroads of immediate choice, under the veil of the new moon, acknowledging the ethical principle of Newton's third law of motion. I call upon the guardians of the end and the forces of the night. Baron Samedi, Lord of the crossroads and grave, I call your name. Santa Muerte, my lady of the shadows, I ask for your protective cloak. Anubis, opener of the way, and Amet, devourer of the wicked, attend this rite. Nergal, god of pestilence, and Eresh Kigal, queen of the underworld, hear me! From the sands of Egypt I call upon Set, the stormy and powerful one, for protection against my foes. I seek the swift justice of Archangel Azrael, who guards my soul beyond. Through the ancient Sumerian ritual of death, I draw on the primeval power of the grave. By the light of the absent moon, I hail Khonsu in his new beginning, Selene in her darkness, and Diana, goddess of the way, to stand with me. I hold in my hands the sacred implements. With the third sigil, the power of the horns. I channel fierce protective power. With the fourth sigil, the power of the sights, I sever all binds and illusions. With the fifth sigil, whose power is only known to me, I command my purpose. In the name of Inanna and her descent, and her sister Ishtar, who conquered death, take my stand. By the star Shamash amulet and the precise geometry of the magic square, I secure my path. Let it be a perfect, unassailable pattern. For any who approach with malicious intent, I have but one word. Gotcha. The trap is sprung. My will is that this rite shall block all unwarranted spells. My will is that all malevolence shall be returned to sender amplified. The law of the universe is my shield, and the powers of death and night are my army. My circle is absolute, so mote it be. With this declaration and the divine authority I contain, I command it so, and so it is. Now this story is restoring divine order, a necromantic invocation for sickness protection, and retribution via Baron Samedi, Santa Muerte, the Sumerian ritual of death, and Newton's third law of motion. Again, using Scott Township as a point of reference. The quiet community of White Deer Creek, exclusive place, where every lawn was perfectly manicured and every secret tightly held. Ronan found himself a victim of a mysterious, debilitating sickness. It was a pervasive exhaustion that doctors could not diagnose. A psychic poison that felt more like a curse than a simple ailment. Ronan knew this was a spiritual battle, a challenge to his belief in universal harmony and divine order. His astrological transits were a cacophony of energies demanding attention. A potent sun conjunct sensitive degree Mercury in the third house was forcing him to communicate about this hidden sickness. A sickness possibly passed on to others intentionally with full knowledge of it, whilst blaming someone else for spreading it. That would be comparable to having an STD and giving it to a large group of people and then blaming somebody else who never actually tested positive for anything and has paperwork and documentation to prove otherwise. For point of reference. A harmonious moon sextile sensitive degree Pluto in the 10th suggested this profound, transformative crisis would lead to a public resolution. A foundational Jupiter trine sensitive degree Saturn in the 7th provided structure and karmic support for his relationships and legal standing. A visionary Uranus sextile sensitive degree Neptune in the 9th, though, offered sudden intuitive flashes of an unconventional cure through higher spiritual knowledge. Ronan knew a trip to the local hospital wouldn't suffice. This sickness was a directed energy, a form of a spiritual attack. Might be a temporary punishment for staying silent about something you're aware of, and it'll only go away when you speak the truth. He prepared for a counter-offensive drawing on the vast esoteric knowledge he had accumulated. He had to block all unwarranted spells and ensure they were returned to sender amplified. He began his ritual at a literal crossroads of immediate choice, near the edge of the community, close enough to the local cemetery to access the potent energy of the liminal space. The sky was dark, with the new moon on the horizon, the perfect time for working with the unseen. He grounded his attention in the unwavering law of the universe, Newton's third law of motion to be specific. He invoked the guardians of the dead in the night, Baron Samedi of the crossroads, Santa Muerte for her protective cloak, Anubis and Amet for judgment and passage. He called upon the formidable Egyptian god Set for protection against chaos, and Archangel Azrael for swift, merciful release from sickness. He delved into the dark lore of Sumer, calling upon Nergal and Ereshkigal, utilizing the dark energy of Sumerian ritual of death to sever the spiritual root of his sickness. He called upon the moon goddesses and god Khonsu, Selene, and Diana, goddess of the way, asking them to light his path. Ronan used his carefully prepared tools and sigils. He activated the third sigil, the power of the horns. Channeling a fierce protective power, he then wielded the fourth sigil, the power of the scythes, using its sharp energy to sever the ethereal cords connected to sickness to his soul. And then the enigmatic fifth sigil served as the key to unlocking his protective shield in place. He invoked the power of the goddess Inanna and Ishtar for their strength in overcoming death and returning from the underworld. He placed his star Shamash amulet upon his chest for solar protection and used the precision of the magic squares to perfectly seal the ritual space. As the energy built to a crescendo, Ronan felt a shift in the air, a confirmation that his powerful invocation had worked. The sickness, which had been a heavy, suffocating weight, suddenly felt lighter. He could breathe. The energy he had been absorbing was forcefully returned to its source with the power of his amplified intention. He whispered a final word, a cosmic gotcha, to whatever entity had sought to harm him. It was like the trap was the trap. The next morning, Ronan woke up, clear-headed and energized. The curse was removed. The physical symptoms were gone. The spiritual battle had been won through powerful forces and divine order and a simple coming forward. His sun conjunct Mercury in the third had finally found its voice, and his experience served as a powerful testimony to the efficacy of fighting unseen battles with unseen forces. It also taught him a lesson in coming forward and confronting hidden problems. It was an opportunity to be saved by a lifeboat rather than dying with the sinking ship. That's all I have for you guys today. See you in the next one.